Thanks to everybody on the line for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. My name is Christine Sharkowitz, and I'll be moderating today's session. We're pleased to host this next event in Merson's 2013 Merson Retail Webinar Series. Today's session is a Google Special Report on Google Enhanced Campaigns. Our panel includes seasoned Google technology and page search experts, and the team will share their insights on Google's latest news and the impact that this has to you as a retailer and as a Google advertiser. With that, I'd like to introduce our presenters. Today, moderating the content portion of the session is Eric Best. He is Merson's chairman and CEO. Joining Eric is Deborah Carroll. She is Merson's director of paid search. And we also have Cliff Gilley on the line, and he is Merson's senior product manager. Today's discussion will cover the following topics. We'll quickly go through an overview of Merson for those of you on the line who aren't familiar with the company. We'll jump into the Google Enhanced Campaigns and changes Google recently announced. Following that, we will get into a session on how you can prepare your paid search efforts to align to those changes. We will also share some insights on the impact this has to Google Shopping. And lastly, we'll cover how you can leverage Merson's expertise to smoothly transition through to the June launch date. With that, I'm pleased to turn it over to Eric Best.
Great. Thanks, Christine, and thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We appreciate your time and attention as we walk through these important changes with Google Enhanced Campaigns. Let me start by just providing a quick introduction or review regarding Merson. I know many of our valued customers are on the call today, and some attendees may be newer to our company. We operate a software-as-a-service platform that sits between our portfolio of 500 leading retail brands and a network of major digital advertising and shopping destinations that operate across the web. And our job is to ensure that our clients' product catalogs are accurately and frequently and completely represented where consumers are evaluating or making purchases. We want to maximize visibility for our customers' product assortments. We also want to ensure that your offers are competitive in the overall e-commerce and broader retail landscape. So more recently, our platform engineering investments have been focused on automating the collection of that competitive price and offer intelligence and providing tools like dynamic pricing engines to facilitate this for our customers. And lastly, you're visible and you're competitive, but that really is only useful to you if you can be assured that the transactions that you are driving through your business are ultimately accretive, whether that's measured on the first transaction, following your investment in the ad dollars to acquire that customer or order, and that you are profitable, or whether that's on a lifetime value of a customer basis. So we really think about our business in terms of marketing optimization and increasingly merchandising optimization to inform those marketing campaigns. Here's a quick overview of some of the key channels that we support through our platform. And of course, today we're focused on Google and more specifically these new enhanced campaign programs that Google is rolling out associated with their AdWords and product listing ads programs. Before we move into some of the actionable recommendations that we'll be making for you today, I just want to talk about a few relevant observations. The context in which Google is deploying these enhanced campaign changes is really the hyper growth in the mobile shopping space. And so we've just pulled together a few statistics to kind of lay the groundwork for the comments that we'll make throughout today's session. You may have seen some of these statistics. They're pulled from our own data as well as sources like Forrester Research and shop.org. But I'll just quickly run through these. So the vast majority of smartphone owners are using their phones while they're shopping in physical stores today. We've seen public numbers that peg the annual year-over-year mobile commerce growth rate at 30%. For our part at Mercent, excluding applications that are published by the major e-commerce platforms or aggregators within the market, namely Amazon, Google, and eBay, particularly where a shopping cart is involved with Amazon and eBay. Excluding those apps, Mercent in 2012 saw 16% of our clients' e-commerce transactions flow through a mobile or tablet device, and that was up almost 300% year over year from a 2011 baseline of 6%. So we're seeing really outsized growth within mobile, and this really provides some of the justification and context for the changes that we're seeing Google deploying with the Enhanced Campaigns program. Mobile searches that occur outside of the home or work are 17%, and mobile site visitors that follow up on research that begins on that mobile device or tablet, they finish the shopping session or process on a desktop browser, that's 13%. So again, a number of quantifiable metrics here that speak to the importance of mobile in the overall e-commerce ecosystem. So with that, I'd like to introduce Deb Carroll. She's Mercent's Director of Paid Search, and she's going to walk us through an overview of Google Enhanced Campaigns. Deb?
Thanks, Eric. Before jumping directly into Google Enhanced Campaigns, I first want to walk through a brief review of the tools and initiatives that actually led up to this change. So over the last several years, Google has spent significant effort into making sure they were ahead of the curve and making their advertising platform flexible. Google added functions to AdWords to allow advertisers to break out campaigns by device and address users with different metrics and messaging. This included the ability to break out smartphone and tablets as these devices gained traction over the last few years. In 2011, Google released Zero Moment of Truth, sometimes referred to as ZMOD. This was comprehensive research talking about how advertisers needed to find that zero moment of truth when user actions actually happen as part of a conversion. It included cross-device interactions and stressed the importance of mobile. And later in 2012, ZMOD was actually updated and made available as a very large handbook. Also last year, GoMo was launched. This was a microsite of resources to help advertisers understand the importance of mobile and included information on developing a mobile-optimized site. The mobile calculator, actually released earlier this week, is on this site. Throughout this time, Google has come out with reports showing that mobile advertising was significantly on the rise. However, they weren't necessarily seeing advertisers take advantage of the capability to break out their AdWords campaigns and target mobile specifically. More often, it seemed that campaigns were being opted out of entirely. So to kick off this year, they have announced Enhanced Campaigns. A core part of Google's motivation with Enhanced Campaigns is to drive mobile advertising adoption. As they are seeing consumers make that shift and search more on mobile devices, advertisers are not always opting in at the same rate. They are also providing some new ad opportunities to better support mobile campaigns and also simplify campaign management. To target each device separately between mobile, tablet, desktop, triples your keyword set and campaign management. This more complex account has been challenging for some advertisers. Enhanced Campaigns are a good way for mobile to try and simplify this process. So what is Enhanced Campaigns? Here I've broken it out essentially in the same context that Google provided in the announcement. First, they refer to the tools for a multi-device world. To Google, this means that your ads will be served to the right user, at the right place, at the right time, on the right device. So instead of breaking out mobile or a specific city target in a separate campaign, it all exists in one campaign with a bid adjustment at the campaign level. These bid multipliers work in conjunction with ad scheduling bid strategies already in place. The only way to opt out of mobile is to actually set this multiplier to negative 100%. There is no option to control or bid against tablet users specifically. Tablets and desktops are now being seen as the same bid value. Next comes ads for context. So in this section of the change, Google is adding more granular control for site links at the AdWords level, and they are also arming advertisers with more specific data for each site link instead of the lump group performance. Site links and ads can be also marked as mobile preferred. This indicates to Google this is the ad or site link that should receive greater importance when a user is on a mobile device. Finally, they're adding some new conversion types. A key part here is to track app downloads with a new ad unit and improved call tracking. These are key points of conversion for advertisers on mobile devices. Ultimately, enhanced campaigns means retailers have to make some fundamental changes and rethink your strategic approach in order to better evaluate AdWords success and performance. Basic tasks such as bid management and reporting come into question to make sure you understand the new math for bids and receive actionable data to clarify opportunities for campaign growth. So now we'll dive into what are the steps for your paid search effort. The first thing we are recommending clients to do is actually take a step back. Google is not making this change mandatory until June. Use this time wisely. A few key data points to consider prior to upgrading are to ensure that any mobile targeted ad groups actually do align with their desktop counterparts. This will lead to some structural considerations. Some ad groups may require a different bid multiplier than others and may need to be grouped into a different campaign. Geo-targeting efforts may be simplified if the offer messaging is the same across those geographic regions. The new location bids can enable some incremental testing opportunities that may have not been explored before. However, you may not actually end up changing anything based off of geo if the offer in the ad itself is limited to that specific geo target, such as free shipping only available on the West Coast. Display buys in AdWords gain more options than actually your search campaigns. The bid multipliers here include gender, age, topic, interest, and remarketing audiences, on top of device, location, and ad scheduling. When considering your display buys, take it very carefully and make sure that you understand which of these multipliers you would like to leverage. Next is to gain some perspective on your own site. Are there things on your site experience and checkout that could be better optimized to handle a more dynamic campaign? Is your site actually dynamically responsive to which site screen the user has? Also take time to ensure that you have the appropriate tracking in place so that you can break out campaign performance to better take advantage of those new bid multipliers, especially for mobile. Google is providing some new things here, many of which are beneficial. So take a fresh approach here and see if they fit in your strategy. The new app unit ad is a great one if you have an app. This will make sure that you can actually measure the downloads of that app and know if it is successful with gaining traction with your users. The new site link functionality with better targets within each ad group is also, I think, a small win here, to be able to have metrics, including impressions by link, to better control and optimize. If you do consider calls as part of the conversion, the call tracking improvements here will also make it easier to measure those results. Lastly, you want to make sure you are looking at your own internal processes to optimize performance. The mobile preferred setting does not mean mobile exclusive. So all ads and site links will have the opportunity to actually show across all devices. It's just one that's more likely to show on a mobile device. This adds a new layer as to how you're going to evaluate your ad copy and site link performance to determine which one truly is the winner and which one should really be mobile preferred. Again, basic bid management here gets a bit tricky with some new math, as your ad scheduling bidding is not the only thing being controlled at the campaign level. But adjustments are sequential. Device, then location is applied, and lastly, time of day. Make sure you have a system in place to handle this. The account structure gains a new element in the bid strategy itself. Are there changes that you need to make to your account so that way you can better evaluate it and get a little bit closer to the insights that you have today? Finally, take time to do a little spring cleaning on the account. This is typically part of normal campaign maintenance, but this is a great opportunity to create a cleaner view of this new campaign environment. So what to do? Again, our recommendation is make sure you're doing some thorough analysis, create a plan, pick a few select campaigns, test it out, make sure you understand how the process is working for you, and make adjustments as needed. Use this time right now to make sure that everything will run smoothly and not have a heavy impact on your performance. Now I'll hand things off to Cliff to walk through some more specifics on the impact to Google Shopping.
Thanks, Deb. Because product listing ads and Google Shopping are somewhat new to the AdWords platform, there are some important things to consider when looking at the new levels of control and the unique ways in which users shop using a variety of different devices. One important thing to note is that the enhanced campaigns will have their greatest impact on cost per click campaigns. As Deb mentioned earlier, these kinds of Google Shopping campaigns will now have additional levers of control, including being able to adjust or bid upward based on device, location, time of day, or day of week. For those advertisers participating on a cost per acquisition model with Google Shopping, you'll have much more limited controls with these new enhanced campaign capabilities. For example, you will only be able to effectively turn off mobile devices by adjusting your bid for them to minus 100%. You will not be able to adjust mobile serving upwards at the campaign level, nor can you adjust it incrementally, whether up or down. CPA campaigns also do not support the geographic bid adjustments, nor the day parting bid adjustments as CPC campaigns do. Next, it's important to note the different display formats that Google has produced for Google Shopping, particularly with regard to serving these product listing ads within a smaller form factor. Here are three different views of the same query across the three different platforms that Google has created for Google Shopping on mobile devices. On the left is the mobile search results page that would be displayed in a user's smartphone web browser. Product listing ads have recently become more visible here, though Google has been testing mobile PLAs for some time. It's important to note that the mobile PLA served on the main search results page lacks many of the important data points that consumers use when judging and considering their shopping options. Important information, such as the product's title or any promotional text associated with the PLA, may not be visible to a mobile shopper on this page. Knowing this, you should consider carefully whether or not searches on mobile devices are as qualified as those same searches performed on a desktop computer. In the middle is the Shopping tab, also part of the Google mobile web page. The display of the results on the Shopping tab more closely resemble that which you would see in a desktop environment. There are multiple listings for the product, a full title and description are displayed, and you can see the full price, tax, and shipping for the item. While desktop users and mobile users both can filter according to their location, mobile users have the distinct advantage of mobile GPS, which makes their location filtering much more immediately actionable. Lastly, on the right is the Google Shopper app, which is currently available on the Android and iOS platforms. This app has a built-in barcode scanner, which allows a mobile device user to quickly search for a product that they are currently holding in their hand. We have confirmed that PLAs are being served based on UPC-only queries, which means that all retailers participating in Google Shopping should be aware of this option and of the vital importance of UPCs and other unique product identifiers in their Google Shopping efforts. For example, if a mobile user scans a barcode and your products don't have a UPC listed in Google Shopping, it's very unlikely that your product ad would be served for that query. We've also noticed that the current rate of UPC queries is heavily influenced by desktop searches and does not seem to be primarily driven by mobile. So this is something of universal concern. Here's some specific questions that we've come up with to contemplate as you consider your migration for enhanced campaigns in your product listing ads. First, the new enhanced campaign capabilities may have some impacts on the structure of your Google Shopping campaigns in general. For example, Google Shopping has the All Products target, which is a unique attribute that has no equivalent in the text ad world. This target applies a maximum bid to all products in your campaigns that are not included in another target. When looking to upgrade to enhanced campaigns, it may be important to test or segment your all products target within a unique or separate campaign so that you can best manage and maintain your bidding strategies across all devices and the other levels of control. Merchants should also consider using the additional levels of targeting within their enhanced campaigns, targets such as product ID, AdWords groupings, or AdWords labels may allow you to promote products that convert better based on their performance on different devices, at different locations, or even at different times of day. Deb, do you have something to add to this?
I think for advertisers that really want to leverage these new bid adjustments to test for a segment of products need to heavily consider setting up a separate campaign to do so that way they can have cleaner results against those results.
Great. As mentioned earlier, the Google Shopping app presents new scenarios where users can scan a barcode as the primary data point that Google relies on for returning shopping results. This presents a great opportunity for retailers with strong and accurate UPC data in their catalog. With the rise of showrooming on mobile devices, the Google Shopper app allows you the opportunity to be present at the exact time when a purchasing decision is made by a customer, which is what Google calls the zero moment of truth. A little bit of data to show here and share. Our research shows that PLA conversion rates for mobile devices up until now have been fairly low. The charts here show an example of Mercent clients currently using product listing ad campaigns across all devices. As you can see, the impression share year to date is very low on mobile devices and slightly higher on tablets with full browsers. Desktops continue to maintain a significant lead over other access methods, with almost 80% of the PLA impressions. Interestingly, when you look at conversion rates, tablets now come much closer to desktops, though mobile devices still remain significantly lower. We believe that this is due to a combination of the form factor, the smaller ad unit for PLAs served on mobile devices, as well as the limited amount of information being displayed on those mobile browsers. Based on your experience with PLA and mobile and text ads, is there anything you'd like to add to this, Deb?
I think for me, my hope is that now that PLA has been launched fully across all mobile devices, that they continue to learn and better understand how the ad unit itself works and might be more desirable to users.
Thanks. One last thing to consider with regard to your PLA and Google shopping strategy is whether or not to take advantage of targeting by day of week. The data presented here is an aggregation of all Mercent clients currently using product listing ads. As you can see, Sunday provides the highest level of conversion, which then tapers off through the week with another peak on Friday, which seems to coincide with weekend sales and promotions. Taking a look at your conversion data across days will provide you with an insight as to whether a day-parting strategy would be a good option for you and for your own campaigns. With all of that in mind, let me go ahead and hand this back to Eric to talk to you a little bit about how Mercent can help you make the most of Google's enhanced campaign capabilities.
Great, thanks a lot, Cliff. So Mercent's been known for a long time as an innovator and leader in product catalog data optimization and data syndication. And when it comes to AdWords optimization and PLA optimization for retailers, clearly product catalog data matters. I mentioned earlier, not only is it an accuracy question, but also a question of completeness and frequency. And we sort of compartmentalize all of that goodness and value, benefit to our customers under the speed management label here. But Mercent has also been investing significantly in the development of technologies to support campaign management on Google, as well as on platforms like Bing and Yahoo. And it's really not until you bring together both of these disciplines, the catalog data optimization as well as the campaign optimization, that you really see success on Google in terms of your total return on Google. So we're prepared to deliver both technology and expertise for both PLA and paid search. And we welcome the opportunity to engage with you to take a look at the catalog data that you're syndicating to Google, and also bring you up to speed on the work that we've done to innovate around campaign optimization overall for Google, Bing, and Yahoo. We'll have an opportunity to provide contact information here in a few minutes, but before we do that, we're going to open the session up now to questions. And I actually have a few questions here that have come in from listeners on the session so far. I'm going to just start with a couple points of clarification. So there was a point I made earlier on the webinar about 16% of Mercent's e-commerce transactions flowing through mobile and tablet devices. That's excluding Amazon and eBay apps on those platforms. And that is a measure of dollar amount, gross merchandise value flowing through our platform per channel. And I actually think that 300% growth rate that I alluded to earlier is not unreasonable given some other data that we've seen from Gartner. I have a slide that I didn't include in today's presentation that just shows the hockey stick growth in the number of units, mobile units shipped. Gartner came out and said that we hit 200 million unique units that were shipped in the fourth quarter of 2012. And so, the growth rate in the adoption of these devices eclipses even the growth rates that we're seeing in terms of dollar transaction volume through the platform. So we think there's a lot more potential, growth potential left in terms of kind of shift of share and overall organic growth in mobile and tablet space. So there's another question. I'm going to direct this one to you, Deb. It was a question from a current Google AdWords advertiser. This is a retailer that just wants to understand how enhanced campaigns will help them bring in more revenue, more dollars. You want to tackle that?
So for retailers, generating more revenue in this model is going to be very heavily dependent on keeping up with the mobile growth and device adoption. So placing measurable value on driving in-store interactions is becoming a bigger factor. That's also why they're looking at call tracking and having addressed that and placing an actual measurable value against those calls. For some online only retailers, those don't necessarily always apply. And so it also puts the focus more on your actual m-commerce and trying to create actionable data and connections between someone who searches on a mobile device and they then may follow up with interactions on a desktop or tablet. Google has announced that they're working to try and help solve for that cross-device interaction. They haven't necessarily come out with much more other than the universal analytics that was also just released. So it still becomes a bit of a tough thing to crack for some online-only retailers to make sure that you're seeing the full connection and the full universe of how people interact with you.
Yeah, it's kind of an attribution problem at the end of the day, right? A tracking and attribution problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Cliff, here's one for you. To what level can Mercant help retailers prepare for the final rollout? Can you guys just reiterate the timing of when you expect these changes to occur, and maybe just hit the highlights of, I know, Deb, earlier you mentioned some key steps that retailers can take. I know for Mercant's part, we're happy to engage with our clients to ensure that they're responding correctly. But I guess for either of you guys, do you want to just tackle maybe a quick recap of the key steps?
So as far as timelines go, Google has basically announced that that the Enhanced Campaigns program will be mandatory as of June. So at some point we will have all of the campaigns migrated over. The platform, as far as Mercant Retail is concerned, is up to date with Google's requirements. We can manage all of that through our platform and through our services teams. So we're ready and willing to help out anyone that needs our assistance. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's one of the key things to know right now is that it is a transition period from now till June. And then they haven't given an exact date. I think most are expecting it to be about mid-June when it will be a hard deadline. So any of the campaigns that are still listed as legacy, you should see that as a column when you're in your campaign view in AdWords right now, will be automatically switched to Enhanced. And you really want to make sure that you're taking time to plan ahead, as we discussed, and make the switch yourself. Don't wait for Google to do it, because if they do so, there may be all mobile bids will be 100% of your desktop bids and things of that nature, which might not be what you desire.
Okay, Deb, I'm going to hit you with a few rapid-fire questions here. Some of these are pretty tactical, but hopefully they'll be high-value add for our listeners. How do I calculate my bid multiplier for mobile?
So there's actually, Google has been placing a lot of emphasis when I'm talking to the different reps over there about conversion rate differences and looking at what's your mobile conversion rate compared to desktop. I think there are other key data points to consider when you look at it, which is also the bids themselves and the bid gap. So if your average bid for mobile, what it's set at right now is to hit your mobile ROI, and that might be very different than the CPCs that you're seeing on desktop. So I would say take a look at your, not just the conversion rate difference, but also make sure you understand the monetary difference behind that as well.
Okay, great. Next one. What's the best or quickest way to identify areas within my PLA campaigns to apply groupings and labels?
That's going to be where Google only provides standard in the feed itself, your product type and brand, and of course the SKU. So whenever you have a custom group, and a lot of times the product type that gets sent over, you might have jeans and then skinny jeans, and actually you want to bid on those together because you have a specific offer, and there's only, so to create those custom groups, that's when you want to start leveraging your groupings and labels, when those other levers don't provide what you want, so that way to better manage the bids and which products as a group actually work better together.
Okay, great. There's two more here, and again, they're pretty specific in terms of campaign optimization questions and techniques. There's a question about the relationship between target URLs and target keywords. The listener actually says, you know, there are concerns over the current delivery of poor target URLs against target keywords. Does this question make sense to you?
My guess is that we're talking about the difference between a keyword URL and a product target.
Yep.
So the product target URL is still always going to contain the information and be specific to the product that was served. So you can append to it in the tracking device. You can append what the search term is and know that it was coming, of course, from a PLA ad, the ad group and campaign it came from. So you get that granularity. What the product matched to is very different from how keywords, it's a basic difference between Google Shopping and keyword bid management.
Cliff, do you have anything to add in terms of Mersant's role in the creation of product targets?
Yeah, it's actually a really important distinction, and where Google seems to be putting a lot of its effort. Product targets are created, or product listing ads based on product targets are delivered based on the quality and quantity of data that Google has for any given product. So rather than saying, I want to bid on X keyword, you actually say, I want to bid on this set of products with a product target. And where Mersant is somewhat uniquely situated there is that we manage both the data feed side of things as well as the campaign management side of things. So through Mersant Retail, you can optimize your product data as well as your campaign strategy in a single platform.
Yeah, I think it's worth adding, too, that within Mersant Retail, we're rationalizing those product attributes and metrics with the structure of the ad campaign, right? So brands and categories and suppliers matter, as well as product-specific operating metrics like cost of goods sold, margin, and inventory velocity.
Correct. You can use all of those different attributes and information in order to position products in one product target or another.
Great. Okay, a few more. We're going to keep going. We've got a very engaged audience here, lots of questions coming through. What can we expect to happen, Deb, to an AdWords account if the advertiser takes no action following the rollout of enhanced campaigns?
So what happens is that, like I said, Google will automatically actually upgrade those to enhanced modes. So if you had a mobile campaign separate from desktop, both of those campaigns will suddenly be opted into all devices, which is definitely not an ideal scenario. So it is taking time to take control of it. It also means that your campaign level site links will remain the same. You'll still have to go in and do the work to create and take advantage of the ad group level insights that you can gain with leveraging those different site links. And your mobile bid will be exactly the same as your desktop tablet bid. So
And
again,
as we talked about earlier,
Sorry.
if your conversion rates are off, you're going to end up with a disconnect between your bid strategy and your performance.
absolutely.
Okay. Guys, either one of you, is there any upside to starting the conversion sooner rather than later?
Starting today slowly means that you're going to understand how this is going to interact for you and see how your campaigns kind of change as you take on that mobile traffic and understand how essentially you're going to serve and your actual ROI for those campaigns. Definitely why we heavily recommend testing this slowly. Do a couple now so that way you can understand what it is how it works, how it kind of interacts, how you're going to look at the data. So that way then when it fully rolls out, you're ready to take on the whole account.
I know Mercent provides technology that helps facilitate this, but do you have any advice for an advertiser that might have millions of keywords or millions of negative keywords or both in terms of how they can sort of scale the migration?
I think when you're looking to scale it is working very diligently over a time schedule. The number of keywords shouldn't necessarily create as much of an issue as it is making sure that you have a smooth rollout plan.
Okay. I don't know. I'm going to take the next question myself. It's, can you determine the ratio between the amount invested to the revenue generated? And, how does Mercent think about this, or can we guarantee it at any level? I think it's actually a great question because, as I mentioned earlier, we're measuring the return on advertising spend or the efficiency of the campaign. It's either your cost of acquisition or it's 1 over X, the return on advertising spend, as kind of key metrics for the optimization of a campaign. And when we set out to build our platform many years ago, this was the foundational strategy that we were pursuing, was to enable retailers at the product level, at the keyword and keyword ad level, to be able to track accurately and manage accurately to an efficiency or return on investment metric. And the key here is that Mercent is able to measure these at the SKU or even SKU variant, child SKU level, size, color combinations, and so on. And we're also able to measure it to a much richer set of retail operating targets, which, as I mentioned earlier, could include profitability metrics like gross margin return on ad spend, and also things like, units sold, inventory velocity and inventory impact, and so on. And there's a related question here, which is, does Mercent's platform provide tools for managing campaign or enhanced campaign settings? Are we doing this within Mercent Retail? Are we doing this within Google? And the answer is we provide proprietary technology that helps our clients address this directly within our platform. Given the fact that Google is constantly innovating around their AdWords and PLA campaigns, we're constantly innovating in terms of providing new tools to support the programs. And we would be happy to provide a full demo of our platform. If you're interested, we can certainly follow up. So, listen, on behalf of Mercent, I want to thank everyone for attending today's session. In particular, I want to thank my team, Deb, Cliff, Christine, and Danny, for setting up this webinar. I would encourage all of you to attend our next session, which is coming up on April 25th. And the topic is leverage the world's largest retail search engine. And the giveaway hint here is it's not Google. So we look forward to seeing you or engaging with you again on April 25th for our next session. Again, if you have any follow-up questions or if you're interested in learning more about our products and services, feel free to contact us. The email is hello@mercent.com, and you can reach us by phone right now at 206-832-3971. Thanks again on behalf of Mercent, and good luck with your e-commerce business.